I got the entire waves 1 and 2 of the dollar store Final Faction. Let's open them all up. For those unfamiliar, Final Faction is a dollar store action figure line that actually is really cool. It has all your hallmarks of a Saturday morning cartoon and a lot of 80s, 90s, whatever you want. Like, it has elements of them in each of these little toys. They have 2 waves, first wave 1 and wave 2. There's also a QR code on the back that takes you to a YouTube channel where you can watch 2 episodes of Final Faction. Production value, right, is not going to be the best, however, very nostalgic for Saturday morning cartoon stuff. And let me splice in a few clips just so you know what we're talking about here.
Is everything. Without all the ingredients for success, the entire operation's in jeopardy. But failure is not an option. Who wants to try one?
Oh, by the way, this is a little departure from Nerf stuff, so if you like this video, be sure to leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and of course, bell for notifications. One thing I wanted to do was open waves 1 and 2 for everybody here, get to know the characters a little bit better, show the weapon pack, show the details, and show that, like, for $1.25, these toys, really good. All right, let's get to it. Let's open some of these toys, we'll see what they're about, and I'll put them together in the different waves, so enjoy. Now we have the A.C.R.M. I believe in the cartoon there's somebody piloting this, like a drone from somewhere in the distance. I think it's like maybe a kid. And here's what it says here. The A.C.R.M. is a breakthrough in virtual reality tech. A helmet and a special suit allows piloting of the mech via a modular system. This mech is adaptable and aids in all combat and rescue missions. The A.C.R.M. is currently piloted by Boyd, a 15-year-old disabled boy. And here we have A.C.R.M. out of the package. He's just basically like your typical mech pilot kind of thing. Get a close-up here. And you'll notice there's a lot of holes and spots which you would assume weapons would go on for this guy, and that's true. There is a weapons pack that you can purchase additionally to him and slot him just exactly how you want it. This is kind of part of the ethos of the line, is that you only buy what you can afford or what you want to build. The base unit itself, $1.25, right? And then the weapons pack on top of it, another $1.25. So $3.50 gets you the complete character, but you can just have a really cool 5-point articulated figure that the joints, while not the best, actually varying degrees of kind of stickiness. It's still a really cool figure. There's some cool paint application. And then later on, if you want to save your lunch money, you could get the weapons pack. Here we have Steel, one of our good guy Alpha Team factions, Alpha Team 1, if we're being specific. As a boy in warm plains of Africa, Steel dreamed of soaring like a bird. Now a highly trained air resource, Steel has multiple specialized air packs for any mission. Nerves of Steel make him the team's greatest asset in the sky. So it seems like there's a lot of bit of Falcon from the MCU, a lot of bit of Green Lantern as somebody with nerves of steel, right? And this is one of the characters that comes with a separate weapon pack, but you do get some of the wings in there. Let's open it up. And here we have Steel out of the package. He reminds me of a lot of Star Wars Power of the Force characters, where he's just really muscular on top, and just the stature of him and how he's posed. Here he is with a backpack on there. It looks good this way. This is the way it's supposed to go on the package. Although pointing it down also is pretty neat as well. It's like a little less high profile and maybe a little more sleek. Here we have Sergeant Ruck. Ruck specializes in ground artillery. He uses heavy weapons that attach to his body to stave off the enemy. Born in the cold valleys of Austria, Ruck has a warm, compassionate heart, but is very competitive with his friends. And here we have Ruck out of the package, and you can attach one of his weapons to the arm there. There's also some spots here. Let's take a look at this. Oh, that looks pretty cool. I like the fact that this line uses the peg and hole system, because hands can be a little difficult, and over time, it can be difficult to grasp the weapons, whereas this, a little more simple. It's kind of like Legos. Here we have Master Sergeant Steadfast. We'll see a little later in this video, his dog Churro does join the fight. Born and raised in the USA, Steadfast is a leader of the Alpha Team. Highly experienced in Special Operation Combat Rescue, Steadfast lost his left arm and was gravely injured during the first Kharn raid. This guy has an axe to grind, and it seems like he wants to stomp out all the Kharn because, well, his arm depends on it. And Ruck is your very traditional gruff Space Marine type character. In fact, there's a lot of Gears of War and Halo similarities within him. I can just see it. Another great little detail about it is when you put the blaster in his hand, his trigger finger does go through the little loop there. So A+. Here we have Shift for the Alpha team. Living in the mountains of East Asia, Shift was groomed to be a warrior from childhood. Trained in every form of combat, Shift is a force to be reckoned with. There has yet to be anyone who could challenge her skill. Initially, right off the bat, the design of this very much looks like Scarlet from the G.I. Joes, infused with a little bit of Snake Eyes. This is probably one of the weaker designed characters of the entire line. The reason for that is the swords on the back are actually attached. Shift doesn't naturally come with any sort of weapons. Good thing she's a master of hand-to-hand combat, I guess. The other thing is that the swords can only point up. With the hair and the curvature of the back, if you try to have the swords down like this, it doesn't really slot into there very well. So it has to go in this unnatural position. Unfortunately, Shift's design really wasn't all that well thought out. Here we have Amari, part of the Alpha team, a specialist, and it says here, Amari is an Alpha team soldier from New York City who uses her size and strength in battle. Amari fights for her family, proudly wearing her father's Air Force bomber jacket. Amari will use anything at her disposal, but her favorite weapon is her modified baseball bat she named Slugger. It hits a home run every time. And here we have Amari out of the package. The jacket looks really cool. However, the baseball bat Slugger, as we've now learned, doesn't really fit that well into her hand. The hairstyle, really awesome as well. Kind of gives it this very 90s extreme vibe. Oh, there goes the baseball bat. Here we have Riptide, part of the Alpha team. Riptide is a skilled combat and rescue diver from New England. When he's not fishing or indulging in canned tuna, he spends his free time helping the local wildlife. Riptide's 2 forearm-mounted harpoons help him ensnare the enemy. He also uses water-activated sensors to warn him of nearby Kharn activity. Now, this is one of the cool and unique things about this figure in particular, is that it has 3 different color-changing points. And I'm guessing it's right here, here, and here. Here's Riptide out of the package. This is a really cool figure. It's got the scuba diving apparatus on the front of the character, and it has the 2 favorite weapon harpoon mounted side wrist rocket kind of things. And yes, I did a little testing off camera. Those green dots do allow you to activate them in warm or cold water, and it changes color. The one thing I will say, though, is that these continuously fall out. I'm going to have to maybe put a dab of super glue in them or just leave them off because they are not vital for the character. One of the more inventive figures, this is Churro. Steadfast, loyal canine companion, Churro's bite is every bit as bad as his bark. On the field of battle, Churro pilots the FDO, Fido, mech to protect his best friends from all threats. Churro's FDO mech can be modified for flight or ground battle. After all, nothing is scarier than a flying chihuahua with guns. Here we have the FD0 mech. Here's Churro. The cool thing about this is the fact that the mech itself has a hatch on the back, and you can put Churro inside. A lot of points to creativity for this character because we've seen tons of people-based mechs, but we haven't seen very many canine-based ones. The Alpha team is getting into drones here. This is the P-131. The P-131 drones were developed and built by Boyd. We remember from the A.C.R.M. The drones are used extensively in combat and rescue operations where the Alpha team could be outnumbered. Deploying the P-131 drones help to even those odds. The P-131 drone is equipped with dual 90mm M54 cannons. Built-in thrusters give the drone added mobility to get those hard-to-reach areas. And the figure does, in fact, give very strong A.C.R.M. vibes, but it just seems a little short. Very clever how it was designed, though, and we have, again, that dry brushing technique on the front, not the back, and the cannons on the arms look pretty cool. There are some spots on the back where I'm guessing we could put some of the accessory packs when we open those. Overall, though, I like the majority of the figure. It's just the feet are just a little small. They could have made this like an actual like upgrade to A.C.R.M, possibly. As it stands, though, not a bad figure, but not one of my favorites. Mysterious and stoic, Torn is an outside asset to the Alpha team. He appears out of nowhere like a ghost to aid in the battle against the Kharn, before once again fading into the shadows. Torn prefers using his forearm blades. When he can't get up close and personal, his unearthly service weapon does the trick. This guy seems like the brooding character of the group. You have to have one of those in your cartoon. I knew there was something brooding and mysterious about this character because he has a second face, which appears to be some kind of Kharn genetic hybrid. Who knows what the cartoon has in store for us? I'll have to do some research on that and report back. But he comes with quite a bit of accessories. He has a hood, so you can hide the evil head. And then he also has a sidearm and 2 of those blades, which we discussed in the back there. And then, smartly, because he doesn't have an elbow articulation, it can retract and look like it's part of his armor. Then there is a molded holster for his sidearm. Totally like the purple armor on him, though. It looks actually really well done. Here we have the X4 turret. Part of the reason that I actually made this video is because of this turret. I'll link the creator in the description below. However, I saw a really cool YouTube video where somebody was using these as Cobra turret units for their G.I. Joe classified line. So I had to run out to see if there were any of these. I only found one, but this is the X4 turret, and we'll read about it here, even though this is for the good guys if we're talking Final Faction. G.I. Joes, this could be a Cobra. I suppose a Joes could use this as well, but they would need a repaint, but we'll get to that a little later. The X4 turret is a mobile defense platform that provides suppressive fire regardless of terrain. Part of the Alpha Team's mech arsenal, the X4 rains fire on the enemy. This is a great toy for $1. It's a quadruped, and it's got 2 different cannon missiles that fire. Here, watch this. Boo. Here we have Scope. As you could probably tell by the name, he is your long-range sniper expert, and it says a long-range specialist. Scope has the ability to keep all targets on the battlefield in his sights. Scope provides lethal cover fire for Alpha Team and always hits his mark. Scope is a master of long-range weapons. Using his tech rifle Stormwatch's explosive rounds, Scope can always bring the rain. Scope is a really cool figure. The backpack has a hole for the long sniper rifle's post, so you can store all of the weapons on him. And the legs have molded holsters for his pistols. The one thing I will say though, it's a little difficult for him to hold his big sniper rifle just because of how far it extends out and how far the weight of this accessory extends. It's time to open one of the Kharn drones. And here it says, the Kharn drone class is a basic grunt used for combat and labor operations. Not highly intelligent, but more intelligent than a brute, and able to accomplish moderate mission tasks. They can occasionally guide a brute to a target of interest. Here's our drone, and it has some really cool dry brushing on the front of him. The back is a little more plain. It does come with one very alien looking pistol here. You know what? Like, this looks pretty good. And you know what? The joints, the hinges, they all feel pretty good as well. This is probably one of my favorite designs of this entire line. It's called the Synthoid. The Kharn have very advanced technology that are autonomous, have a synthetic biology, and are highly intelligent. The Synthoids are used in all Kharn operations similar to the Final Faction's A.C.R.M, and they are not to be underestimated. This is an incredible toy. Again, I got this one for $1 before they increased the prices on everything. Hadn't opened it yet, but here it is out of the package. There is some dry brushing technique again on the front of it. If you notice that the arm limbs in particular are rather loose, that's actually by design. When we open up one of the accessory packs, we can slot in different arms and things like that to make this a different creature. It's an extremely creative way to introduce not only variety in your toy line, but a great way to cut down costs so that you're not creating brand new molds all the time so you can keep selling the base unit. We have another of the Kharn infantry. This is a Brute. The Kharn Brute class specializes in power and destruction. They have very low intelligence and are controlled by a commander. Tank weapons are not able to penetrate a Brute skin. It is usually a team effort to bring these beasts down. And here is the Brute, free and breathing. It has very similar characteristics to other Kharn creatures in that faction. And the one interesting thing I want to note is the weapon itself. It has a very strange feel to it. It almost feels like an SLS print. I'm not sure if it's that or if it's just kind of a funky mold that has a very interesting, like, gritty texture to it. There's a very lobster or crab-like quality to him with these pincers on top of his head. And overall, the purple looks great, and the silver dry brushing on the front of him is just a nice added feature. From Wave 2, we have, I believe his name is Krepitus. He is one of the evil Kharn factions, and he looks pretty gnarly. Let's open him up, but first, let's read a bit about him. Krepitus is a relentless bounty hunter. He is tasked with eliminating loose ends for the Kharn. Krepitus has no sympathy for his targets. He is only focused on the task at hand and will do anything to complete it. His latest bounty is that of the defector Torn. In here we have Krepitus outside of the package, and one thing you'll notice is he has these green swords that are attached to his wrists, and it's kind of cool how they do that. It's on these gold paint applications, and it looks pretty cool. Now, there are some on the back as well, so I'm assuming if we unplug this, we could probably have him store a sword on his back to kind of look like he's carrying around his weapons. Now, if I had to guess like where the inspiration for this came from, it's a little bit Predator, it's a little bit Avatar, believe it or not. And he looks pretty gnarly. It's a cool one. I like the gold on there. Gives him a little, you know, kind of a regal feel to him. And then the hair, unexpected, but definitely cool when you pose his head in different ways. You know, impressed. Again, price point, right on point with this. Thing I almost forgot, Krepitus comes with a tiny little pet. I don't know if this is a parasite or what it is, but it's really cute. It's kind of like a familiar for one of our bad guy friends. Don't know how this fits in. I don't even really know if it kind of can stack anywhere, but a nice little addition. We have the villainous General Diabol. It says here, Queen Malara's most trusted general, Diabol is ruthless mastermind who never fails. While Diabol prefers to dictate the rules of engagement from his command center, he has no fear in the battlefield and is happy to engage his enemy in hand-to-hand combat. Diabol is a brutal warrior who uses his spiked and armored limbs in combat. Adorned with bones of his enemies, this juggernaut is unstoppable. Wow, okay, that escalated quickly. Here we have General Diabol out of the packaging. This is one of the bigger characters in the whole series, very big compared to all the other ones, which is pretty impressive. There are some spots here to slot some weapons on. I'm guessing if we have a weapons pack, which we do. And it also has that dry brushing technique on the front of the character again, while the back, it is absent. This one's just a straight up spider. It's called the Crawler. It's for the Kharn faction. Ha, it's a spider. Small in stature, but deadly in numbers, Crawlers can quickly swarm their enemies. Crawlers are the Kharn's first line of defense with their armor-piercing limbs. Okay, so spiders with a little upgrade. I was really mistaken about these guys. They're like half spiders, because look, you get 2 of them in the pack. It was actually a pleasant surprise. In fact, I thought it broke when it came out of the package, but when you look at it, there is no way that this can actually link up. These are 2 individual units, which again makes sense considering of the little description that we just read. All right, so here we have a Decimator. This is part of the evil Kharn faction. It kind of looks like some sort of, this looks like something from Starship Troopers. And on the back it says, a defensive turret that is as strong as a rhino, Decimator is a living weapon. Ruthless in the pursuit of opponents, Decimator delivers a deadly blow with its spore strikes. So let's open it up. I'm guessing this is its spore right here. And here we have the Decimator. It's got 3 legs and it is kind of loose in the joints. However, the detail on this, if you wanted to go in and repaint one of these, would be phenomenal. It comes with 1 of these missiles. It does fit right on the top kind of head, and there is a button to activate it. That does it for all the figures. Now we have some vehicles to open up, and then we'll move on to the accessory packs. Final Faction did some really interesting things with vehicles. There's one for the Alpha Team, one for the Kharns. This is the Alpha Team one, and it comes in 2 boxes. This box, again, $1.25, and the armor plating and further accessories was another $1.25. The Aero ATV has a compact design that allows it to easily zip through the most rugged terrain while defending the Earth from the Kharn alien threat. With the Aero ATV armor and weapons pack, sold separately, it's virtually indestructible. What do you say? Let's get this open. That wasn't too terribly bad to get this all together. Now I think we got to put the armor kit on, right? It says here, once upgraded with weapons and armor, the Aero ATV instantly strikes fear into the hearts of the Kharn. Weapons provide a powerful high rate of fire, and armor makes the Aero ATV the ultimate assault vehicle. And here it is with the armor, except for one side. The reason for that is they gave me the wrong piece. They duplicated, so this side won't actually slot on. It makes the vehicle look a whole lot better, but I will have to find a replacement piece for this, and we'll see how easy that is to get it replaced. Missing piece aside, let's get a character in here, see how this looks. We put our leader in here. You know what? It was a little tricky to get him inside the vehicle, but once he's in there, it's not the most well put together vehicle ever, but these budget lines, this is fantastic. Now, of course, the villains need a vehicle, right? Here we have the Kharn Rumbler, not Tumbler, Rumbler, and the accessory pack that goes with it. I believe this is for it, right? Yes, this is the battle conversion kit for the Rumbler. Let's get this all together. There's gonna be a lot of assembly. I'll show you what that looks like. And the main Rumbler actually isn't as bad as the ATV. This should go together pretty quickly. Here's the Rumbler all assembled. This is kind of like Cinderella's carriage if it were infused with alien technology. Very simple to put together, just 4 parts. And now we have the parts from the battle kit, and we will install those. Again, this looks pretty easy compared to the Aero ATV. I'll tell you what, for as simple as the base unit was, the battle kit is a must buy with it. It just looks, this is way too cool. All right, let's get a character in it. All right, and here's Diabol in there. I don't know how he drives it, but it really doesn't matter. This is a really cool villain vehicle. Now let's talk about some of the accessory packs for Final Faction, because that's part of the value of the line. You only purchase what you're able to afford or you want to buy. Let's just run through them. Let's do the Alpha Team first, then the Kharn. Here is the Covert Ops weapon pack, and it does say on the back what these are. Owl Eyes provides night, heat, and UV and infrared vision. It's a lot. Phoenix Pack allows the user to hover, increase speed with boost, and rise to the air up to 40 feet. The SPRG, self-propelling and retracting grappling gun, useful for attaining high ground and pulling enemies close. Dawn and Dusk, handguns with high rate of fire, accurate, close, and mid-range. Limited ammo charge. Lion Fang, short sword, useful for close combat fights, also good for intimidation. Stratus Board, hovers up to 40 feet, above ground or water, reaches speeds of up to 30 miles an hour. Kharn Drone, they made sure to put gun in there. Can sight and attack remotely, good for recon and ambushes. Here we have the Air Assault Pack. This can go with a variety of characters, however it says it works with all mech characters. In the pack we have arm cannons, providing firepower, giving the ability to inflict long-range damage to enemies. Back Booster, a jetpack that gives a mech short range, jumping capabilities, and increased maneuverability. Can be combined with wings to allow short-range flight. Leg Booster, boosts mech speed on the ground, as well as increases jumping ability. When combined with the Back Booster, Leg Booster can provide additional propulsion, increasing mech flight duration and distance. Wings, provides flight capability to a mech when combined with the Back Booster. Alone, the wings give a mech the ability to glide from high drop zones. Here we have the Thunderbolt accessory pack. This works with the P131. It has Stinger launchers, dual shoulder-mounted SAM launchers. These devastating Stinger missiles are a heat-seeking anti-aircraft ballistics. Cyclone airfoils. These lightweight airfoils help the P131 take the battle to the skies, and their tight handling and maneuverability make the P131 an airborne nightmare. Here we have some cyber arms. It says this pack works with most Alpha Team characters, so the good guys get to use these. It has cyberkinetic harness that connects to users via a neural network and supports multiple extensions. What? Grappler, a multi-purpose grappling arm. Death's Kiss, high-powered psionic scimitar. Is that me saying that right? Scimitar? I don't know for real. I don't know. Cleaver, a double-edged axe for hand-to-hand combat. The Emancipator, a deadly blade with diamond-edged teeth. And the Talon, swift and silent, a sharp and penetrating weapon. Here we have the long-range pack. It says this works with most Alpha Team characters. Not all, most. It has the Hammer Down LAR-50. This deadly sniper rifle has high-velocity rounds capable of piercing armor and limbs. Spartan XP-109, a versatile battle rifle that can alternate between automatic and single shot. Malcolm HZ-38, high-caliber mid-range rifle. The Busy Bee, the KL-308, fires 400 plasma rounds per second. You need to carry a lot of ammo with that. H-Pack. Scope's H-Pack is always loaded for battle. If the good guys get accessory packs, why not the bad guys as well? Let's cover all of the Kharn accessories and see how they're unique. Here we have the Synthoid Arms Pack. Now, it's literally arms pack, because if you remember the Synthoid, this guy, you could remove its arms and replace them with these gun-like appendages? Or weapons? What are these? I don't know. Battle arms. Energy-based, shoulder-mounted cannons that increase the Synthoid long-range attack capabilities. Auto-targets biological enemies. High accuracy, high damage. Trap arm. Gives Synthoid additional dexterity, increasing ability to grab and hold enemies. Needle arm. Close-range combat attachment gives Synthoid the ability to inject nerve toxins into enemies, temporarily rendering them immobile. Here we have the shock arms pack for the Kharn. There is some definite Halo influence right here. There's the Burrower, shoots a bioblast that clings and burrows into an enemy, attacking nerve clusters. Sounds painful. Core Blaster, energy gathers in the core, then shoots a ball of energy that explodes on contact. High damage, low accuracy, high damage radius. A Zapper, shoots an energy ball that jumps from one enemy to another, getting stronger as it goes. Here we have the Quake Arms accessory pack. This one's a little more sinister here. It has a grabber that shoots a piercing projectile that hooks into an enemy, then the weapon pulls them close. The Acid Spitter attaches to the back and shoots short-range acid blasts onto enemies. The acid can destroy any non-biological material. Spike Launcher attaches to the back and shoots short-range, spike-like projectiles. Here we have a Synthoid Evolution pack. So we take the base Synthoid model, and this is from the new wave that allows it to evolve into this kind of crazy beast. It has the Azora, a tentacled nightmare. Azora reaches out and entraps enemies before the Synthoid drags them to their doom. Oh, wow. There's another weapon here called the Katagoth. The plasmoid discharge of the Katagoth cripples man and machine, leaving both torn asunder. And finally, we have the Wythram. A dragon-like wings of the Wythram, the Synthoids are able to take their warfare airborne, bringing destruction from every angle. The Kharn Brutes get a weapon pack here. This is called the Brute Striker, and as you can guess by this, you can tell what kind of types of weapons there are here. They have the Glaven, a brutal instrument of destruction. The Glaven is wielded by the Brutes with bone-crushing efficiency. The Strather, a shield that is also a battling... There's also a Strather, a shield that is also a battering ram. In the hands of a Brute, anything is a weapon. And then finally, the Drathos. A Drathos attacks with its dual heads, cutting any surface with razor-sharp, jagged teeth. Here we have the Drone Scourge weapons pack. Kind of gives me some underwater vibes. We'll read a little bit about it and see if that's true. There's a Scython. A vicious, dual-pronged weapon bridges the distance between enemies in a most painful fashion. A Luminar, an energy-based weapon of extreme power. This handheld firearm hits wherever Scython cannot reach. And there's the Druskull. Inspired by a serpent on the Kharn homeworld, this back-mounted cannon is capable of firing venomous rounds that dissolve any surface, etching fear into all Kharn enemies. And that's it. I mean, that is the final faction, waves 1 and 2. To the best of my knowledge, that's all of them. And it's really cool to see these types of toys be made again. Back when I was a kid, winded back to the 80s, early 90s, there were budget lines of toys that were on store shelves that were really kind of cool. The one I remember the most being Food Fighters. Food Fighters have a very special place in my heart because I would save my allowance, my lunch money, anything I could scrounge. There were of course play sets and vehicles as well. But to see that tradition carried on in 2022, what seems like a long time ago, is pretty special to see. Are these the toys the best quality? No, that's actually the point of the budget line. It's to give kids play at a very low price. However, there are some really smart, intelligent things that the people who are behind this line have done to make this really fun. While yes, it is cheap and there are corners cut, the fact that you can buy accessory packs, that you can buy the units independently of each other, makes this extremely fun, extremely collectible, and people like me, a little bit nostalgic for the toys of yesterday. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more of this, please leave a comment below, and we can go into the accessory packs if you want, but I think we've comprehensively covered the final faction, so now it's time to say, see you next time.